We are running low on 4th of July shirts. If you haven't gotten your 4th of July shirt, guys, time is running out. The 4th of July is just a few weeks away. Get yours while they last. You're running low on time for us to even ship it to you. So order today, thegardenstate.com. Support the movement, support the podcast. Thank you.
Hey, this is Jersey. You're listening to the Garden State.
You're listening to The Garden State, the only New Jersey podcast that gives you all the news, information, facts, and bad jokes you need to hear this week. My name is Josh Sobo.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Jimmy Parks.
We're back. Jordan's back with us.
For the summer.
Yeah, he's the intern.
Can I get that as like the official title?
You want to put on your LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Garden State intern.
Garden State.
Can you introduce yourself that as next week?
Yeah.
I'm
the
Jordan.
intern Jordan.
We should start making nicknames. That's the very shock jock thing to do on the radio. They have nicknames for everyone. But I was going to say, Jordan, last time you were on, we got a message. You guys don't explain who these people are that are coming on. Can you give a description of who is Jordan? So
Wait,
give us
someone said that?
Someone messaged us. They either emailed us or texted us that. So I wanted to ask, who is Jordan?
I'm just a regular guy that you guys invited on. And there's not much to know about me. I feel like I don't want people knowing too much about me. How tall am I? I think 5'10".
All right.
You don't want people knowing much about you, then coming on a podcast to broadcast to all your community members is probably not a good idea.
Yeah, well, I don't reveal anything about myself.
Well, don't we know that you play pickleball?
Yeah. That's pretty much all that I want people to know about me.
And we know you're 5'10".
5'10", play pickleball.
You're the shortest one here.
You're like the opposite of
Am
that.
I?
You're the opposite of that viral sound going around.
What's the viral sound?
6'5", finance.
The opposite.
5'10",
Pickleball.
pickleball. Oh, man, that's great. All right, well, welcome back, everybody. Chomik is away on tour. What city is he in right now? Do we
He's
know
in
what
Seattle.
He's in Seattle still.
Yep. So they've been in Seattle for a few days now. Tonight is the actual show.
Cool.
After this, he goes to Bend, Oregon, and then he's in California for like a week.
Is Bend, Oregon, where that cool outdoor amphitheater is? The Gorge?
No.
Have you ever seen the Gorge?
I think I know what you're talking about, but this is the Hayden Homes Amphitheater, which I will look up right now and see what that looks like. Yeah, it looks like just any other amphitheater.
Cool. Well, Chomik is on the road. Jordan's filling in. And, New Jersey moves on. Stuff is happening in the news. We got to keep the information flowing to the people.
Yes.
Welcome back, Jimmy. How was your week?
I had a good week, good weekend. Sobo, you and I were at a wedding together this weekend, so that was cool.
Hamilton Township,
New Jersey.
Which, how far south is Hamilton? On a map, it's next to Princeton.
An hour?
It's like a little north of Trenton.
Okay, so that's Central Jersey territory, would you say?
Definitely. It's above 195 and south of Route 78, so it is firmly in Central Jersey.
Yeah, we were down there for a wedding. It was nice.
Yeah, it was a nice venue. I liked it. Shout out to Adam.
Yeah, shout out to Adam. Yeah,
Shout out to Adam.
On the Endeavor. Jordan,
Endeavor.
What'd you do? You're always all over God's creation.
I went to Lambertville.
Ooh.
Oh.
Lambertville's beautiful.
I had never been there before. I'd been to New Hope in Pennsylvania, which is right across the Delaware Water Gap, but it's a really cool town.
Oh, God, this kid in his geography.
What happened?
It's just the Delaware River. The Delaware Water Gap is further north.
Sorry, I didn't realize there was a distinction between the two.
Well, the whole thing is a water gap. I mean,
I guess. But the area known as the Delaware Water Gap is further north.
Oh, that's my bad.
So, what was Lambertville like? I've heard amazing things, by the way.
Super cool downtown, like a lot of like antique shops and stuff like that, and like all the houses there are so nice.
Historic?
Yes. I love that style of houses. A lot of brick houses and stuff, like very well kept. A lot of the people have like a ton of, greenery and gardens in their front yards and stuff. So I'm like, it's a super cool town.
Did you eat anywhere?
I did. It was at a taco place, and I can't remember the name of the place, but it was incredible. Like some of the best tacos I've ever had.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah,
And I was like very pleasantly surprised because I wasn't expecting much based on the place, but I was like, it was really good. And they just have like cool like hiking paths. Like there was
got the Dinar Canal path that goes right through there.
Yeah, and there's like an abandoned railroad that goes like over it, like a bridge that you could walk across and stuff. And there was a abandoned train car on the tracks.
Yep.
And we went inside of it, and there was a homeless man living inside of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Did you say hi to him?
Well, I didn't actually go inside like I was going to go inside. So my friend, he like climbed up to go inside, and I hear him talking to someone. And then I hear him saying, "Sorry, I don't have any money."
Oh, no.
I was like, "Was there someone living in there?" He's like, "I think he is living in there." Yeah.
Oh, man. Jimmy, let's talk Lambertville significance historically.
Don't put me on the spot here. I have no idea.
I was just reading, as we were hearing that wonderful story about the homeless individual, the unhoused individual, excuse you, Jordan.
That's my bad.
I heard that during the Revolutionary War. So what I did was I literally found the history of Lambertville, a history page, put it in ChatGPT, the entire thing, and said, "Give me 5 facts from this page," because I didn't have time to read it. But one of the things it's saying here is that during the Revolutionary War, there's something called Coryell's Ferry. It's an outpost and crossing point for George Washington and his troops. So was Washington just consistently crossing the Delaware? Like
Must have been.
So what's the big deal?
Well, back in the day, right, all up and down the Delaware, they had these ferries that would take people across pre-bridge.
Yeah, they didn't know how to build a bridge.
So, yeah.
Even though the Romans did it like 2,000 years ago, right?
And then, as we all know, Washington later crossed the Delaware a little further south of there.
Very cool.
In the town named Washington Crossing. Do you think it was named that before or after?
Yeah, the thing that's kind of, so the Washington Crossing is a New Jersey town, right?
I don't think it's actually called Washington Crossing. I think it's like Pennsville or something over there.
We've been saying for years we're going to go on Christmas Day and be Civil War reenactors.
Who's we?
I'm sorry.
Titusville, that's where it is.
Revolutionary War reenactors. Me and Jimmy, we're going to go. Jimmy has a crew of friends that go down there and they reenact Washington crossing the Delaware on Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
And I said, I'll show up. I'll do it.
And like, do they dress up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be a drummer boy
so
and get in
cool.
the kayak and go across.
Yeah. No, a few years ago, I got a phone call. It was like, hey, like, you should like take your camera and go on the boat with us, but we just have to make sure that it doesn't look like it's a camera, and you'd have to dress up in like...
Would you convert it to a musket?
I guess something like that, right?
Wait, did you go?
No, I didn't do it, but every year I get asked.
Please ask for us. Please ask. I'm serious. I want to go.
You would do it?
Make a 60-second mini doc for our social pages saying every Christmas, this group of reenactors cross the Delaware.
Okay.
And I'm gonna dress completely like Washington. I want whoever the actual Washington is to be really annoyed that I showed up. Like, who is this guy that thinks he's Washington?
His first time here, and he shows up as George.
Like a 1-to-1 replica of George Washington, like perfect makeup and everything. Just show up and be like, "Excuse me, sir, are you leading this voyage today?"
I think you might get detained.
Just like really be annoyed that like never break character the entire time there. Like ticked off that I'm not Washington. Oh man, that would be really fun. But no, really, ask Jimmy. I would go. Okay. I mean, it's Christmas Day.
Yeah, they do a dress rehearsal a few weeks before too.
Okay,
so.
Let's go to the dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
I will go to that because Christmas Day is a hard sell to my family.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is about the Christmas Day one, there's always something. Like a few years ago, the river was flowing too fast. Oh, there's too much ice on the river. Oh, there's not enough water in the river. So it's like, do you think Washington really cared?
Well, they would have disgraced the name of George Washington. The boldness of George Washington. So. Well, look, if you can get us in, Jim, I'll show up as Washington with a musket. And maybe I'll do my own speedboat and just rip across. Like, why are you guys taking so long? Oh, man. Okay, so, I've wanted to do that for years. Jimmy just never follows up on it, so I'm going to shame him for a second here. So Chomic's gone. Jordan was in Lambertville, almost Seattle, about halfway there.
Yeah.
Jimmy and I were in Hamilton. Anything else you want to say about Lambertville before we move on?
Well, I went to this really cool like custom furniture shop, and they had like all this really cool antique stuff and just like random things and like leather jackets. She had like a crazy collection of just random things, and I bought like 2 leather jackets and stuff. And they're like,
you bought 2?
Yeah.
How much were they?
$400 each.
No way.
Yeah.
You bought 2?
You spent $800 at this lady's shop. Oh
Well, I
my.
bought other stuff. I actually ended up spending $1,000.
I thought you were gonna. Oh my.
Jordan's making way more money on this podcast than either of us.
I thought you were gonna say that you spent like $20 on a leather jacket.
No.
Are
'Cause
these
they
like
were legit.
Do you have a photo? Like what brand are they?
One of them is
Shot.
Shot.
Yeah, that's a good brand.
I can't remember the name. Vanson or something.
Van Heusen, the women's brand. No, I'm kidding. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But the lady said she used to be like a designer for Shot and stuff.
Oh.
So it was pretty.
So
it's a whole history of the company and stuff.
Here's a cool Jersey fact for the listeners. Shot has I don't know if you know this actually. Shot, their warehouse, the distribution warehouse is located in Union.
Yeah, I think it's actually their world like headquarters.
Yeah, is it?
Because I looked it up because there was a weird coincidence where this weekend I've never been down that road in my life, and I just happened to drive down that road and I saw it, and I was like, "What are the chances?" of
Every
that?
October/November around that time of year, they do a Saturday, basically a yard sale, where you show up and everything is crazy cheap.
Yeah,
Like they'll have leather jackets for $150 that are $1,000. Maybe not that cheap. Maybe it's like a $300 jacket that would have been $1,500. Like it's more of, and I haven't been in probably 3 or 4 years. I used to go every year and just look because you got to get there early. I always forget. I always forget and I show up 2 hours late.
Is it like a crazy amount of people show up to this? Like everyone knows this happens?
Oh yeah, but you can still get good stuff even if you show up late. I
Yeah.
mean, I bought a fisherman sweater that would have been like a $400 really heavy wool, like a traditional I'm on a boat pulling a net fisherman sweater. And it would have been like $400 something and it was like, I don't know, like $20. Like they have crazy deals like that. So, yeah. That's a fun New Jersey fact for listeners. If you're near Union and you want to get a cool leather jacket. But Jordan, spending a lot of money.
yeah, it was an accident. I didn't mean to spend that much.
You could have put it in your 401k, but
I probably should have.
so, hey, let's get into the mailbag because a few months back we had a party here at our office and we invited our listeners out. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And while we were having the party, we got to interact with lots of listeners. And one of them is the man you're about to hear sing the mailbag jingle, Iltronics. He came out with his fiance, wonderful people, and he called in the mailbag with what I can truly say is the most amazing and unique mailbag call that Garden State has ever received. So if you want to call into the mailbag, the number to do so is
908 67 99 99 3.
Yo, fellas, this is Noah, Iltronics. This is a big one. So, the other day, my fiance, who you met at the meetup a couple months ago, woke up with stomach pains. We had to rush to the hospital, and turns out that she was 39 weeks pregnant, and we did not know the whole time, and she gave birth that morning. So I'm a father now. And you guys technically met the baby because she was about 7 months pregnant when we were there. Her name is Rosie June, and Sobo, I know your daughter's name is June. We just used June because she was a surprise baby in June, but yeah, Rosie June Saunders. So just wanted to let you guys know what was going on in the Garden State. See you guys.
How insane is that?
that's the craziest call we've ever gotten.
Can you
She was 7 months pregnant when she was here hanging out having pizza with us.
let's break this down a little bit. Let's
Yeah.
say tomorrow
Yeah.
Shelby woke up and just had another kid. Like at the end of the day, like you woke
I would
up like
die.
any other day of the year. I'm waking up and you're like, oh, I don't feel too good. And then by the end of that day, you have a kid.
Yeah, and I was talking to my wife about this. Well, first off, congratulations,
Yes,
Noah. That's amazing.
congratulations.
Love the name. Love the photos are beautiful. I saw them on Instagram. But I was talking to my wife about this, and apparently it's called like a cryptic pregnancy, where it happens. You hear about this on like TikTok videos where women have no idea that they're actually pregnant and they're carrying a baby, and then they just give birth.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like that's wild. So technically they were a party of three that night. They didn't even realize.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
I've heard stories like this, but I'm like, I don't understand how that's possible. Like, you don't show any signs.
I don't know.
Or is like the baby super small? Like, because wouldn't you show some kind of bump.
I hear that some people just don't. It's crazy.
But like, where does the baby sit then? Like, if like, I just don't understand that. Because you see other people are pregnant who have like a massive bump, and I'm like, I just don't understand how you would not notice it at all.
I don't know how it happens. It kind of freaks me out that it can happen.
Yeah, it's like,
But also, I mean, their baby's beautiful. Like I can't even imagine. I almost think it. Okay, so there's two sides to it. On one end, I think not thinking about it for the 9 months, you'd be way more chill.
yeah,
Because women, when they're pregnant, they should be relaxed. They shouldn't be stressed. And pretty much everything related to pregnancy makes women more stressed.
Yeah.
Like all the conversations, all the stuff you got to do, I feel like it's stressful. So this may have unintentionally been like a really amazing, chill way to, grow a baby, just to not know. You have no idea. Although I don't know if she was like working out. Like I don't know the flip side of like, what do you have to worry? Like, oh, month 4, I ran a half marathon and I shouldn't have done that.
yeah. Or if you're drinking or something, it's
Yeah.
like, oh shoot, like
Exactly.
I realize I was pregnant.
But the other crazy like flip side of it too is you're not prepared at all, right? You probably don't have a crib. You probably don't have like clothes for this baby, right? You have nothing.
Yeah, if it's your first kid, like
You know what?
genuinely
should
would
we
have
find
nothing.
out? Should we find out if they have a registry and send a little Garden State gift?
Yeah.
I think we should find out Iltronics what's going on. Make a note about that. I'm sure he put something on Instagram, so we'll have to look to see if they do have because they don't. You're right. They wouldn't have anything. How would you have any? How would you know you needed to have anything? I didn't know anything we needed. My wife figured all of it out. Like she was really into it.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, whatever.
whatever the kid needs.
Yeah. So, hey, congrats, Noah. That's
It's huge.
truly amazing. And she better come to the next meetup and hang out with us.
When's that going to be?
We're working on that. We're working on the dates. We're going to figure it out, though. So, all right, let's move on. Actually, if you want to support Noah as he endeavors on fatherhood, go listen to his music, Iltronics on Spotify. That's ILLTRONICS, is it? I think that's what it is. Let's just go with that. All right, moving on to the news.
I hope it's right.
You guys want to talk Jersey news? Should we do that?
Let's do it. Let's dive in.
It's a good idea.
So I think one thought, I know I've said this in previous podcasts. Mm-hmm. I like for us to be very self-aware, even to the listeners. It's fine. I really think end of summer, the podcast needs to change. I think we're entering a change.
In what way?
A period of change. Well, I just think, I think the format is kind of locked in the way that it is. And I think we're ready to grow. And it might feel different, but I think maybe, I don't know. We're gonna have to think about it.
What's this, season 3 we'd be going into?
Season 3, technically, yeah. I think we could think through how do we make this into something even bigger and better than what it already is. And I think there are ways. I do think there are ways. So, we have to talk that through. But for this week, things are going to be the same.
Yes.
While the cat's away, the mice play, right? Chomik is the cat in that analogy. Before we get into the news for the week, we want to let you know that we are recording our podcast live from the Vintage City offices in Elizabeth, New Jersey. We have been home here for just about a year now, and we are loving every minute of it. If you are looking for an office space to build your business, you have a dream. You want to build a business where you supply rare breeds of ducks to duck collectors. I don't know, maybe. And you're looking for a space to do that. Your home is just a little crowded. Your kids are a little too loud. You want to get away to some peace and silence in a place where you can dream about your business. Hey, I got news for you. The Vintage City offices is the place to do that. You can call the number 908-259-4488. That's 908-259-4488. Call or text for a tour. They'll give you a tour of the space. You're going to love it. It's really beautiful here. I've learned environment for me either inspires me or it makes me less inspired. Like environment has a big impact on that for me. Maybe you too, Jordan.
It does.
And when I'm here, I feel like we are a part of something important, something cool's going on. So you guys can call or text that number once more, 908-259-4488 for a tour. And when you come by, take a selfie in front of the big green and yellow neon sign. We'll see you then. Back to the episode. Starting off with Governor Phil Murphy, a little lighthearted, non-divisive conversation for your Friday morning. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy has signed a controversial public records haul into effect. So
Interesting. This is about Oprah.
Yeah, so this is, I'll be honest with you, I think to your layman listener, this is going to be a little bit confusing. It takes a little bit of explaining, but it's pretty interesting to see what happened. Jimmy, what have you heard?
So this is about the Open Public Records Act, right? And right now, if you wanted to, let's say that in your town, you wanted to find out like what emails your mayor was sending to, like the council, like the town council. If you wanted to, you could submit an Oprah request and be like, I want all emails that Mayor so-and-so sent to this person. And you could get them. And you could do that with, like, that's a pretty easy example, but you can do it with pretty much like any government document. The only things that you really can't get is stuff that's like deliberative. And some things are like redacted if you get them back.
So that's a great, I think that should be included in the clip when Chomick edits it, because that's a great breakdown for your average person. And some of the byproducts of this whole thing being signed is there's a few things. So first is going to be the legal fees. So as of now, if you were to, if you were to take the government to court over denied records, typically in the past, they could have to pay legal fees. Now they won't have to pay legal fees. There's also, they extended the response time. So, I don't actually know what the original period of time was that they had to respond to you, but that period of time has been extended. So basically, they made a few changes that are making it a little bit harder for regular people to obtain the information on these certain records. And as a result, people are freaking out. And, I think people do have a right to the information.
Yeah, and I think another thing read about this is some companies, right, are requesting like crazy amounts of records. So let's say that I'm a lawyer and I want to know everybody who got arrested in Newark. I could request that information. I would get it, and then I would like send out my legal business cards right to all these people. So some people are using it as a form of like generating business for themselves. So I think that's part of like this reform. Like you might not be able to request like things like that, but I'm not sure.
Then why not just make that illegal?
I don't know.
Soliciting.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'll read some of the article. It's just going to be a bit redundant, but it says New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy on Wednesday signed a deeply controversial bill to overhaul the state's Open Public Records Act, despite intense public pushback from activists who warned it would enable corruption and tarnish his legacy. So the governor signed with the legislation S2930, explaining his rationale for arguing that its changes are relatively modest in scope. I know that this decision will disappoint many members of the advocacy community, including a number of social justice, labor, and environmental organizations, among others. I have heard the many objections to the bill directly. I know that there are many in good faith and with good intentions, Murphy said. Nevertheless, Murphy wrote, the changes in the bill were relatively modest and that the 22-year-old law needed modernization. If I believed that this bill would enable corruption in any way, I would unhesitatingly veto it, Murphy said. I mean, look, in a weird way, I think he believes what he's saying. I don't know. I feel like he believes what he's saying. I don't know if he's correct in a sense. I think more transparency is always good with local government, with all government.
Yeah, no, I think the changes affect local government more than state government.
Which is arguably more important. We get caught up in our country so much on federal elections, federal stuff that's happening on the federal level, when in reality, you should be so focused on what's happening in your state. We had the election last week. Nobody's even talking about it,
I feel like nobody even knew it happened.
Yeah, they kept
Like
it
so
under
many
wraps.
people. Yeah.
So let me just see if there's anything else here we could go into before we move on. So the push for the bill has largely come from lobbyists for county and local governments who say records custodians are burdened by commercial and unreasonable requests by a small number of people. Committee meetings on the bill were dominated by critics who believe the New Jersey government officials were using anecdotal evidence as an effort to more strictly clamp down on what should be public information. Most controversially, the legislation would end the current practice of mandatory fee shifting in which the governments pay the reasonable legal costs for any requester who successfully challenges a record denial in court. So this is all what I kind of outlined before, but what I find to be interesting is the lobbyists for these local municipalities. I'm wondering how many requests are these areas getting?
I think a lot. I think some people are getting slammed by it.
So in really simple terms, a township like Montclair is getting, let's say Essex County is getting dozens of these, or maybe, I don't know how many, weekly, monthly.
Yeah.
And as a result, it's causing a lot of work for these people to pull up records. And I'm sure it's a lot of work to pull up records and get them out.
Yeah, and there's timelines associated with it too. So some people might have to stop what they're doing to fulfill this request.
Okay, so outsider that's never worked in local government, thoughts on this. One, why doesn't every municipality just have a person that's the records person? This is their full-time job.
I think, right, it comes down to probably money.
Okay.
And is it worth dedicating a full-time position to somebody who's just answering Oprah requests versus doing something that the town needs?
I guess it depends on your perspective of government. Now, again, this is going to sound ignorant because I'm not in it. I would say this is probably one of the most important roles in local government, transparency to the people. Now, granted, I'm sure there's people that take advantage of this, like you were saying, lawyers that want to find a new mailing list of people to reach out to. But if I'm a citizen and I want transparency from local government, I mean, is there anything more important than that for public servants of the people?
Yeah, no, I agree.
But now on the flip side, I'm not saying that everybody should hire somebody, but also the question I had was, could AI help with this? Could there be tools that come out in the next few years to help making sourcing these records very, very easy and, like a 5-minute task instead of something that might take hours and hours to do? Maybe, hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we should develop tech, Jordan.
Oh, maybe we should. But I feel like it shouldn't. I mean, unless everything's just on paper that they're pulling up, I feel like if you have a good database, it shouldn't be that hard to
I think that's what it comes down to.
The records.
Well, let's be honest. If you had to go to the DMV to get a new license plate or a new driver's license, is that ever a task that takes less than an hour and 20 minutes?
No.
I mean, it's like the government finds ways to move slower on stuff than anybody else. Now, granted, shout out to the government, shout out to our local state employees that are holding it down, the public servants. But government is not known for its efficiency.
No.
Like, if this is a private, obviously a private organization couldn't do this, but if this was anybody else, would it be, okay, let me give you an example. I lost a receipt from Target that I needed. I called Target the other day, corporate Target, because the local Target couldn't help me. They were no help. I went to the store. They were like, the manager's not in. So I'm like, are you kidding me? What do I do then? You guys don't have the receipt. And I think legally they have to have it. So they're like, call the 1-800 number. And I'm like, that's not going to do it. I totally am. There's no way. Are you kidding me? So I gave up. I called the 1-800 number. Can I just say, Target corporate,
Impressive?
the nicest people ever.
Really?
Lady pulled up my receipt in like 4 minutes.
Wow.
She pulled up my receipt from a Target in New Jersey, and she's in an office wherever Target HQ is. In an instant, it was like, bam, got it, emailed it to me. I'm like, if I knew this was a thing, I would be doing this more often when I lose a receipt, or sometimes they want to give you store credit because you don't have the receipt. Just call them, get the receipt.
Yeah.
And it made me go, I think we settle for mediocrity because that's just what we're fed. Like if Target wanted to, they could make their system incredible to get receipts.
Yeah.
And they have. I mean, call Dunkin' Donuts corporate HQ. I've done that too. Because for work, you need receipts. They're no help. You're not getting a receipt from them. But Target figured it out. And in the same way, I think, you deal with local government, you're dealing with a small amount of people. from one area working on a task. Maybe we just need to, maybe better technology will make all this easier. I don't know, but I'm not going to give a take in one direction or the other because I'm pro, freedom of information and people getting as much information as possible. I think on the flip side, I don't know what Jimmy's referring to. I don't know what the numbers look like with lawyers and other people making unreasonable requests.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I think in certain places it's probably a lot.
Any other thoughts?
I want to talk about the Target thing.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, what kind of information do they need to find your receipt?
I mean, if you call and say, hey, I made a purchase on January 5th between 12 and 1 p.m., it was for $47.53 at this store location, they can probably get it.
Is that what you did?
Yeah. Now they might say, what are the last four of your credit card number? Or, what kind did you have, a MasterCard, a Visa? Like what kind of card was it? But they can do it.
That's crazy.
It was so crazy. I was like, it was almost like one of those things where you're like, why have I never asked before?
Yeah.
So
Just think of how much information they're storing though. Like that's crazy.
well, it's just receipts. But think about it, it's just receipts.
Yeah, but it's still like, imagine like how many transactions Target is doing a day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like how big that database must be of just
that's
receipts.
that's like 1,000th of a kilobyte, I feel like, a receipt.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much, but it's just crazy to think about how much information that actually is. And then like, if all the companies are doing it, like just how much information is stored out there.
I think they probably have more information in security camera footage
That too, which
than
is
they do in receipts, if you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's gigs
Yeah.
off the bat. And how many
Yeah.
cameras does a Target have?
A lot.
Hundreds. So, yeah, let's keep it moving here onto another story. This story is, this is probably one of the most horrible stories we've done.
Yeah.
I didn't want to read it. I think I wrestle with what are we trying to accomplish here? But it is New Jersey news, and it is a cause that we can support in some way, and I think that could be a good goal in all of this. But this is out of this happened in Maine, but this is out of a family up near Rockaway, New Jersey. A 6-year-old New Jersey girl has died after a badminton racket shattered, piercing her skull.
This is one of the saddest, but also like craziest freak accidents I think I've ever heard of. Like playing badminton, like I can't even like picture in my head how that's even possible.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's a total freak accident, and it's so ridiculous that it sort of makes you think. Like I was thinking, if I'm the parent in this situation, you've done your work to protect your kids from any obvious threats of life.
Yeah.
Like not crossing the street without looking both ways, or worrying about strangers being near them, or all this stuff. And then it's a badminton racket. It doesn't make any sense. It's just so ridiculous. So a 6-year-old New Jersey girl has died after the aluminum shaft of a badminton racket pierced her skull while she was playing with her brothers and sister during a vacation at a lake cottage in Maine, authorities and the family said. The Morgan family, who live in the Stockholm section of Hardiston in Sussex County, were enjoying their last full day of vacation in Limerick on Saturday afternoon when the tragedy struck. According to the girl's father, Jesse Morgan, a pastor at Green Pond Bible Chapel in Rockaway Township, after the family finished eating lunch by the lake just before noon, the children went to the front yard to play badminton, Morgan said. Lucy was sitting on the sidelines when the racket being used by her 10-year-old brother broke on a downward swing, dislodging the aluminum shaft from the wooden handle, Maine police said. The shaft then entered Lucy's skull, causing a traumatic brain injury. I mean, this is just, you can't even make that up. It's so horrible. So they transported her to a local hospital, and she actually died 4 days later. Lucy survived by Jesse and Bethany Morgan, as well as a 10-year-old brother, an 8-year-old sister, a 4-year-old brother. The family has since returned to New Jersey, and her funeral is planned for June 15th. So there's a GoFundMe for this family, and I think that this is, the one thing I wanted to highlight in all this. They've raised $87,000 as of Friday morning. Let me check what that's at now, because it's probably, so they're at $137,000 of the $150,000 goal. So let's put this link in our bio and contribute for this poor family. But that's crazy. Like, how does that even happen? You know?
Yeah, you never expect it.
I can't even imagine. And to have to keep it moving, you know, to keep going on with life. I don't know how people do it. That's so crazy to me.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
So, and these are up in near, what is it, Sussex County?
Rockaway area? What's that?
Well, Rockaway's
Morris?
Morris, but I think they live in Hardyston.
Oh, yeah, so that's Sussex.
So, yeah, I think it was worth just pointing people to what's going on there so that they can support. Do you guys have anything you wanted to say, or?
Just horrible.
Yeah. And again, I'm just like, I can't understand how that could even happen. Like, it just doesn't even make sense in my head. Like a badminton racket.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to something a little more lighthearted. Again, if you want to support that family, we'll put the link in the podcast description. But moving on to something else, a $16 billion Hudson River Tunnel project has received a green light. So this has been long delayed. Long talked about, a new tunnel under the Hudson River going into New York to help with the traffic on the Amtrak lines, which is what New Jersey Transit's on.
Yep.
And it's finally going through $16 billion.
That's insane.
It's just unfathomable.
I already said I would do it for,
15.
give me $1.5 million and a shovel, and you're going to get a tunnel. It may not be the best, but we'll figure it out.
And what's crazy is it's going to go over budget. It's probably going to land up costing over $20 billion.
Yeah, this is gonna, and it's gonna take way longer. That's a critique that I've heard that I think is interesting. The Empire State Building took 1.5 years to build.
That's crazy.
1.5 years. Like, let's put that in context. How long did the Freedom Tower take to build? How long until the New York City skyline had a building after 9/11?
Yeah.
I think it took 12 years.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? I know. Okay, so a few things. I know labor when they built the Empire State Building was different.
Yeah.
You had like the beatniks working, and it was tough times. But we have better technology. We have better everything. We have better means of transporting steel, better crane operation. To me, we should be able to build a building like that in 1 year. I know that that's ignorant. I'm not a construction guy, but explain to me how they did it then. And we have more tech now, computers. We have everything, and it takes longer.
Well, that's I think we talked about it on here before, but the Golden Gate Bridge with the nets that they installed,
Yeah.
where installing the nets, I think took longer than building the entire bridge or something like that. And it's like, how does that make any sense?
It doesn't make sense. And it just shows, I was listening to the president of El Salvador. Have you guys heard about this guy?
No.
So I went to El Salvador when I was probably 16. At the time, it was extremely dangerous. Tons and tons of murder, controlled by gangs. And the president of El Salvador gets elected, and he's like, we're going to clean this up. And in 1.5 years, he has made the murder rate per capita lower than America.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, he's cleaned up El Salvador very, very quickly. Now, granted, he did it in ways that would they would trigger a lot of Americans, meaning he just locked up gang members. He locked everybody up that was causing the murder, which is hilarious that would offend Americans.
People.
Like, free the gang members, But he made this interesting point where he talked about the Empire State Building and how, America should be able to do that with our cities. We should be able to clean up our cities in 1 year. We're so wealthy. We have so much resource. It should take us 1 year. We'll clean everything up. And people go, well, it's not that simple. Well, it was that simple for El Salvador, which is a much poorer country than we are, right? Yeah. So it's like, I think that there's sometimes, my point in saying that is I think sometimes there's interest in not resolving issues or in issues or things taking longer than they need to. Like, if you think about it, $16 billion over the course of how many, it didn't say in this article how many years this was going to take, which I was surprised. I thought it would give an estimated deadline. I'm going to assume 10 years, maybe 5 to 10 years, who knows? But I think there's a vested interest, at least by the unions, in having this take a long time. Because then you have guaranteed, for some guy, he might have guaranteed work for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
You don't want this job to go in 1 year, because then you only have 1 year worth of work for the people. But I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not a rocket scientist. I've never drilled a new tunnel, but I just feel like sometimes it's almost intentional.
That was a pretty good guess. It's going to be completed by 2035.
Okay, you found it. What do you guys think? I mean, is that unreasonable for that to be like, what if what's happened to us as a culture? Like, why is everything?
I feel like sometimes we see like we have the ability to do it. Because like you'll see like examples of it in certain cities where they could clean up the city like basically overnight.
They did that in San Francisco.
San Francisco when the Chinese president came.
Yeah.
And they did it in LA for some, I forget, a award show or something where it was like they were having it outside and they cleaned it up literally overnight where all the, homeless people were gone, the streets were clean. And it's like they can do it. It's just they choose not to.
Yeah. Well, I think if tomorrow we said, hey, this tunnel, we're at war with China, we got to get this tunnel done in the next 12 months. The tunnel will be done in 12 months.
Yeah.
They would find a way. I think there's not there's no urgency. There's no sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Like as a culture, we've lost any sense of just pride in being excellent and pride in being the best. It's just get it done. It'll take 10 years. Whatever, and, yeah, it's going to be 15. I mean, right now it's 2024. I'd say 2035 would be my guess. 11 years.
No, longer.
You think?
Yeah. Longer and more money.
I mean, Elon Musk just drilled a tunnel he's like drilling tunnels from LA to Vegas and he'll probably finish before this. Like he'll probably get that done
I wouldn't
before.
doubt it.
So maybe we should ask Elon to figure it out. Get a maniac like that to figure it out. But here's what it says. The long-delayed $16 billion rail tunnel project connecting New York and New Jersey has received the final nod from the federal government that it will be receiving $6.88 billion in full funding agreement. The project seeks to ease congestion under the Hudson River by adding a new tunnel and making upgrades to more than a century-old existing tunnel, which is crazy. That's insane. The tunnel's over 100 years old that we're working with right now.
Isn't it crazy? Like, how did they know how to do that 100 years ago?
I don't know. I think about that.
How did they just like...
Dude, 100
they just
years
send
ago...
people down with shovels and just like...
100 years ago, we just stopped using horses for cars. I think it was early 1920s we switched over to cars.
Like, how do you dig something like that 100 years ago?
I can't imagine.
Again, this is the point I was just making. 100 years ago, they were figuring out.
Yeah.
They were figuring it out, and now we have machines with hydraulic arms on them, and we have diesel engines, and it still takes us a decade.
How
long? Okay, hold on. How long did the original tunnel take to make, do you think? What is that tunnel called?
I don't know. I'm going to look up a Holland Tunnel, though, just for fun.
Yeah, look up how long did it take to make the Holland Tunnel. Okay, let's take a guess.
I'm going to go with 6 years.
I'm going to say 6 years is not, it might have taken longer. I'm going to guess, Jimmy, how close is he with 6 years?
Pretty damn close.
Really? What is it?
7 years.
7? Okay, hold on.
They're doing it faster.
When did we build the Holland Tunnel, Jimmy?
It started in 1920. We officially opened in 1927.
In 1920, it took us 7 years to make the Holland Tunnel. And they're saying it's going to take 10 years to make a new train tunnel for the Amtrak line. Am I hearing you correctly?
That would be correct.
What has happened to us as a nation?
That actually makes no sense. I don't understand
Look
that
up
at
a
all.
photo from 1920. They had horses and wagons, and they built the Holland Tunnel in 7 years. Am I going crazy right now?
No.
It's going to take us 10 years to make a new train tunnel when we have unbelievable union labor. We have everything we could need. I don't know. That's crazy, guys.
That actually blows my mind, though.
We sent a man to the moon. 60 years ago, we got a man on the moon.
With and your phone has a bazillion times more power of computing technology.
This should take 18 months. 18 months, bang it out. Get the tunnel done. What is going on?
Why didn't you bid on the contract?
Yeah, for real.
Because I don't know anything about any of this. I just like to critique. But I cannot believe that's crazy that the Holland Tunnel took 7 years in 1920. Let's look up photos of Holland Tunnel construction.
And it's lasted 100 years, too.
I guarantee you these guys were wearing suits with top hats while they were digging the tunnel.
Okay. How long do you think it took to build the Lincoln Tunnel?
What year was that?
It was originally proposed in the late 1920s. 1934.
I'm going to say
I mean, that's following like the Great Depression, so I feel like they were
really hustling.
They were cooking. Like, they were really trying to build.
they were getting, they knew, there was rumblings of another war maybe at that point. That was
Yeah.
36. So,
I would say 4 years for that.
yeah, I was going to say, 4 to 5 years is a good timeline.
21 years.
Okay. Okay. Hold on.
But okay,
Where's the
there's
big
like
change there?
caveats to that though, right? So originally the first tube opened in 1937. The remaining 2 tubes were completed in 1945 and 1957.
Okay, so
the
how long did,
total-
the first tube is all we need to know here, Jimmy.
So 1934 to 1937.
So 3 years.
3 years to make the original Lincoln Tunnel? 3 years. Look up these photos, dude. These guys have like hard hats
I know
and
they're
suits
just digging
on.
with shovels.
They're digging with shovels. They made the Holland Tunnel with shovels in 7 years. What are we doing? I don't know. I think this is the story. Forget the rest of the information. Hey, I think that's the story right there. Yeah. They got the funding. All you need to know is they got the funding. The new line is going to go in. It's going to take 10 years, $16 billion. And the federal government's funding some of this. And that's really it. But Josh Chomick, your clip might be something to do with us finding out the Holland Tunnel took 7 years to dig.
Blows my mind. Did it say how much it costs to make
That's a great
the Holland
question.
Tunnel? I guarantee it's like 1/10 of the cost.
Yeah, let's find out adjusted for inflation. What did it cost to build the Holland Tunnel?
$48.5 million.
$48.5 million. Let's do inflation. I'll do the inflation calculator. Hold on to the numbers, Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 48 million. Let's just say 1920. Try a value less than 10 million. Let's do $9.9 million because I think. Oh, 10 million. What am I doing? 10 million. Let's just do. What's 48 divided by 4?
12.
So let's just do. No, it's still too big.
Just do 10 million and then just multiply it by 4.8.
You're so smart, Jordan.
I know.
So adjusted for inflation, the Holland Tunnel, the total cost roughly was $777 million. So we're going to spend, adjusted for inflation, we're going to spend like 12 times as much money. No, way more than that. Yeah, we're going to spend
Like 20 times
20 something
more.
times more money, and it's going to take longer. Now, is a train tunnel the same as a car tunnel? Probably not. You got to run electric through. You got to run train lines. Maybe it's bigger. Maybe there's more tunnels. Maybe there's more happening.
But still. You think with the technology and machinery that we have, you're like,
Yeah. You think we'd
it would go quick.
you think we'd crank this thing out? Like, hey, give me 18 months and $5 billion, and you got yourself a tunnel.
Should
But-
make it a challenge just to see how fast we can do it.
It kind of makes you
challenge
wonder,
them.
where does this money go? Like, who at the top is, skimming a little from the pot? 16 billion, there's a lot to play with. You take 100 million of that.
Nobody even notices.
Nobody even notices. It's still $15.9 billion and $100 million. I mean, that's a lot of money.
I think
So-
that's probably one of the biggest issues with stuff like this, where it's just like, that's an insane amount of money. Like, you can't even really keep track of like
Yeah.
where all that's going. So it's like, you have people just dipping their hand in there like crazy.
Yeah. I mean, skimming the pot, it's hard to even, like you're saying, that's a small economy in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to be able to keep track of where that money's going and if it's being managed properly? But our government, when it comes to, spending billions of dollars on stuff, they have no issue just throwing it and saying, we'll figure it out. I think it's a result of having a lot. Like, we have a lot as a nation. And when you have excess, you don't need to really keep track of the numbers as much.
Yeah.
But if we were in like a depression, this tunnel would not be $16 billion. They'd be like,
I don't know. Because think about like during COVID where people were struggling. They're signing $1 trillion spending packages. And you're like,
yeah.
how do you keep track of $2 trillion?
But at that point in time, even with everything going on, people weren't starving to death.
No.
Like the Great Depression, you see like the Dust Bowl pictures of people like that famous picture of the mom with her baby You guys know that one you saw in history
Yep.
class? It's like if the world got like that, we'd tighten everything up pretty quick, I think.
Yeah.
I think the government would be like, all right, let's lock in a little bit and not spend $16 billion on this tunnel. But alas, I mean, this is the world we live in. Will NJ Transit times get better with a new tunnel? Hopefully. I would hope so. I'm sure they have data on it. I'd rather the $16 billion be spent on getting speed trains to go through that tunnel. But maybe that's part of the goal. Who knows? All right. Let's move on to another story that's going to just bring joy to people. Just kidding. This is going to cause issues.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is at the South Mountain Reservation. In Millburn, New Jersey, a bear was killed after a woman and her child were trapped by it.
Does it say where they were trapped?
Yeah, they were trapped actually near Locust Grove.
But they were trapped like just outdoors? Or
Yeah.
They were, oh, really? That's
Yeah.
so scary.
Yeah, they were trapped by the bear. And so Essex County police killed a bear that advanced on them after they came to rescue a woman and her child near the South Mountain Reservation on Monday, authorities said. According to the Essex County Sheriff's Office, the woman contacted county police at 11:22 a.m. when she and her daughter were trapped by the bear near Locust Grove. They put trapped in quotation marks.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. I'm like, were they stuck in their car? Or were they just like out? Like, how do you get trapped by a bear?
Well, if you're in your car, just drive away.
Well, that's what I mean. But like, if you're outside, like, how are you trapped by the
Well,
bear?
maybe the bear was just chilling in the parking lot and they were
They
trying to
just
get to the
couldn't
car
get-
and they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm sure, listen, I don't know the situation. I wasn't there, but I'm sure
Really?
that, yeah, I was there. I was the bear. No, but I'm sure that, bears are freaky. If it's just hanging around, you kind of don't want to go near it.
Yeah.
So here's what happened next, authorities said. Essex County Sheriff officers were dispatched to the area and upon arrival on scene, located the woman and her child and other patrons who attempted to lead the concerned parties out of the reservation. While attempting to safely escort the patrons out of the reservation, the group was re-encountered by the bear on the path, leaving the reservation. The officers safely escorted the patrons out of the reservation, then attempted to get the bear to return to the wooded area, at which time the bear advanced upon the officers and unfortunately gave them no choice. The way that was written was kind of funny.
What? Unfortunately,
Gave
gave
no
them no
choice.
choice.
It gave them no choice.
did
There was an
what they had
ultimatum. He was like, "You cowards!" No, no, but it gave them no choice.
It's like he was daring them to do
Joe
it.
cannot put this in the TikTok clip. We're gonna get ripped. For their safety and for the safety of anyone else in the immediate area, they had to put the bear down. So it has been reported that there is currently a helicopter actively in the area of South Mountain Reservation. This is due to the Essex County Sheriff's Office responding to the bear sighting wherein the animal in question became aggressive and had to unfortunately be put down for safety reasons. So that's the story. That's what happened. I think the overdevelopment in Millburn needs to stop. I'm saying that tongue in cheek because anytime a bear is killed in Sussex County, they're like all these suburban people and the moms above Upper Montclair come out of the woodwork to say we're overdeveloping Sussex County, and it's like you say that from your concrete community in Millburn, where the bears no longer can live, and when they do come out, it's no bueno,
Yeah.
So I think this is circle of life. I think this is, what are you going to do? I mean, the bear came near some people. So
Yeah, if he was being aggressive, then it's like you kind of have no choice.
yeah. Well, what do you think? What do you actually think beyond that? Like, do you think that this is what could have been done here to avoid this?
I mean, I don't think you can really do anything to avoid it unless you just like ignore the bear. But then it's like, well, there's a chance that this is going to happen to somebody else if he's being aggressive with people.
Yeah, I was in Yellowstone a few years ago, and they had like a whole section of the park closed because there was a bear that got too comfortable with people. So I think that they were on the hunt for this bear.
Well, I think I've said this before. I think part of the issue in a state like New Jersey is people are so disconnected from nature that an animal dying, people freak out. They're just like, a bear died? Are you kidding me? Because they just see everything as their dog.
Yeah,
Every animal's
it's
their
a
dog.
bear. It'll
Look up
it could
Look up
destroy
photos
you.
of hairless bears.
Terrifying.
animals like bears are like the closest we can get to when you watch a horror movie and there's a creature in the woods that just eats people. That's what a bear is, but we disassociate because they're furry and
they look, because you have a teddy bear growing up. You're like, oh,
look up a hairless bear and then imagine you're in the woods.
That's terrifying.
And it wants to rip you apart because that's what they do. They bears aren't like do bears kill their prey first? Don't they? Wouldn't they slowly eat you? They're not like cats. Like cats want to break the spine and then they want to break your spine.
It probably depends on how much you.
I think bears
just
rip you apart, man. I think they just come in and like piece by piece they eat you. People don't realize like they're not your friend.
No,
like you're not going to hug a bear.
Well,
so
depends on who you are.
I
could get away with that.
Yeah, honestly, you could probably defeat a bear.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean,
it depends on how big the bear is.
What do they do with this bear after they kill it? I know that's kind of a gross question, but do they just dispose of the body? Do they?
I'm sure that there's like, it probably goes in for testing and stuff, and then eventually gets disposed of. But
so maybe it's at like Rutgers University or something like that. Some biological lab.
Yeah.
Did Chomick tell the story about our encounter with a bear on here ever?
Oh, I forget if he told it or not, but I saw the video.
You did?
Yeah.
Because that was crazy.
Tell me what happened.
So we were in the Poconos for a bachelor party weekend. We're outside playing spike ball right next to the woods because it's like the only flat area. And one of the guys is like, just says something about how he could hear something moving in the woods behind him. And we all just kind of like brush it off like, oh, it's probably a rabbit or something. And then probably like 60 seconds later, a bear just walks out of the woods right next, like a massive black bear just walks out of the woods.
It's probably a rabbit or something.
Because we're just like thinking like, around here, like you never see any animals like that. Like you just see rabbits and squirrels. Like I wasn't even thinking like there was a possibility that it could be a bear.
Yeah.
But a massive black bear just walks out of the woods, like right next to us. And we all just go, running towards the house immediately. And then he just wandered over, climbed in the dumpster, took the garbage, and just dipped. But it was a pretty crazy experience because I've never been that close to a bear in my life.
Bears are freaky in person.
Yeah. That's like a lion walking out of the woods, just like right next to you, and you're just like...
Or a shark in the ocean, swimming next to a shark.
Yeah.
Like, think about it in those terms.
Yeah.
Sharks are different because they look scary. That's the whole thing with bears is they don't look as scary. They look cute. But, bears probably... How many people die a year from bears, do you think, in America?
I don't know.
Let's find out.
I'm going to say...
In the USA.
53.
Okay. 82 fatal human-bear conflicts by wild brown bears. Oh, since 1784.
Oh,
so not many.
That's it?
So let's look up bear attacks.
Yeah, they kill less than one person a year in North America.
Okay. So, but how many? So hold on. Because
you're more likely to die from a bee sting.
That's
okay,
crazy.
so 25 attacks annually. Let's see shark attacks. And this is going to be skewed because we just had those shark attacks down in Florida. Shark attacks USA annually. So 25 attacks by bears. How many? 36 unprovoked shark attacks. So it's pretty similar. 36 to 25 attacks. But I don't know. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 16 attacks per year by sharks. So 16 times a year someone will get attacked by a shark. So it's pretty similar. Like bears and sharks are pretty similar on the level of fear you should have from them.
But
this here just gives a crazy fact. Men ages 18 to 24 are 167 times more likely to kill someone than a bear.
Hey.
Wow.
I'm more scared of humans.
So
But
that's
I feel
freaky.
like I was dangerously close to being that one person to get killed by a bear. Because you're not scared of it, because just sitting in here, there's no threat of a bear. But when you're actually next to one, you're like, oh.
When Shelby and I were in the Tetons, we walked up on a mama grizzly bear and her cubs.
Ugh.
And it's scary.
It's not a good place to be.
You get we're so disconnected. I think that if you were in the woods with a bear, even part of your brain is still kind of thinking, well, nothing could go wrong.
Yeah,
you see it, it's scary, but you're like, I'm not going to die.
Yeah.
You almost think I could talk I could talk to it.
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
I
Talk
can
my way out of it.
I can reason with it.
We got stuck on the trail behind this guy that kept going, "Hi, bear," every 5 minutes. "Hi, bear." Not even 5 minutes, probably every 90 seconds.
Yo, bear.
"Hi, bear. Hi, bear." And we were the whole drive home, we were like, "Hi, bear." Because he just kept doing it. "Hi, bear." And it just,
He's making his presence known.
it's weird, So, yeah, the bear attacks, they happen. But on the flip side, maybe they shouldn't be building homes in Millburn anymore. Maybe people should leave Millburn and,
Give it back to the Bears.
move to Elizabeth, Newark, or New York City again, where their ancestors moved from.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next story here.
This is our final story of the night.
Final story of the day. A New Jersey businessman has admitted to bribing Bob Menendez with a Mercedes-Benz.
Doesn't surprise me.
So one time I saw Bob Menendez and he was driving a Mercedes-Benz, and I wonder if it was this car. As soon as I read this article,
car.
I was like, wait a second.
Okay,
so funny.
Would be kind of a cool car to buy and post, because this is probably going to go to auction, right?
I don't know.
Don't you think the government will obtain this Mercedes-Benz because it was obtained
Possibly.
illegally by a government employee, and then it's going to be at like the Bergen County auction? Bob Menendez's Mercedes-Benz. I want it. I want to buy it at auction. That's such a good story. Yeah, this was a bribe.
But, okay. Let's dive away from this real quick and say, if you were being bribed, like your job was on the line, if you accepted this bribe, would you accept a Mercedes-Benz? I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it.
What would it take for you, Jimmy? Like,
I don't know.
what's your price to be bought out?
Like a Lamborghini or something? Like if someone said to me like, oh, like here, like you do this for me, I'll give you this Mercedes-Benz, or like, oh, here, do this for me, I'll give you this Lamborghini. I'm
but I
going
feel
with
like-
Lamborghini.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're driving a Lamborghini, then it's like
It's too obvious?
Yeah, where it's like, oh, he definitely did something he's not supposed to do.
Here's what I'll say. I think
He's been bought.
it depends on what the favor was. If the favor was something like, if it was something really light, then a Mercedes-Benz sounds kind of nice.
Yeah, I guess.
But if you're doing something really big, then I wouldn't want, a Lamborghini. I'd probably ask for something like
Gold bars?
gold bars would be good, or a house down the shore. Maybe maybe he sells me a house way under market value. I'm trying to figure out where they're going to auction this Mercedes at, because it has to go to auction,
That would be fun to
doesn't
go to
it?
that.
Or am I making that up?
No, it might.
I mean, they're not going to destroy it.
So there's all these vehicle auctions on NJ Distribution and Support Services.
Yeah.
Auction for vehicles and surplus property. I kind of want to go to one of these auctions. Jim, you ever go to an auction?
No, never.
I think this would be really fun to go to.
Are these like the auctions where they sell like the police vehicles and stuff?
Exactly. I mean, this would probably go to a federal auction, Sobo. It probably wouldn't go to a
Oh, true. That's a
New
good
Jersey
point.
one. But
Oh, they have Toyotas for auction in New Jersey. This is interesting. I might have to go to one of these and buy an old government Toyota Highlander. But yeah, so back to the topic at hand. A New Jersey businessman testified Friday that he bribed Senator Bob Menendez, telling a jury in the New Jersey Democrats' bribery trial that he gave the lawmaker's wife a Mercedes in exchange for his influence. Jose Uribe, who pleaded guilty in March and is cooperating with prosecutors, was asked on the witness stand whom he bribed. Uribe told the jury that he bribed Menendez. And
the delivery of that sentence was incredible.
imagine he said another name. He's like, it wasn't Bob. It was Chris Christie. And he conspired with another businessman named Wael Hanna. Uribe said the senator's wife, Nadine Menendez, had accepted the bribes he paid. The senator, his wife, and Hannah all pleaded not guilty. A third businessman, Fred Dybus, has also pleaded not guilty. So there's all this corruption going on, all these different businessmen. Prosecutors have said that Uribe, who testified he bought a car for Nadine Menendez, sought the senator's help to keep at bay a criminal probe from the New Jersey State Attorney General's office into his associates. So we were talking about the tunnel before and how expensive it's going to cost, and maybe there's corruption. No, there is corruption. Like, we have a perfect example of the Attorney General's office was going to look into something, and as a result, to get it squashed, all you got to do is buy a Mercedes-Benz for Bob Menendez, and it gets over with. Isn't that crazy?
It sounds like a fair price, though.
A fair price, $60,000?
Yeah.
Hey, can you
Get him to stop?
Yeah, so Menendez is also accused of accepting bribes to benefit the Egyptian government.
Oh, jeez.
Next week, the truth will come out, Menendez said as he exited court on Friday. Yeah, it's going to come out all right, Bob. The truth shall find ye out. Your sins will find you out. A spokesman for Menendez declined to comment on the matters related to the trial. An attorney for the senator did not immediately respond to the request for comment on Friday afternoon. Menendez is standing trial with Hannah and Diabes. Nadine Menendez's trial was delayed until at least July following a recent treatment for breast cancer. So there's a lot going on here. But what we do know is he did accept the Mercedes-Benz. It was to squash a criminal probe. And it's kind of sickening to see this kind of stuff going on in our state. We need transparency. We need to know what's going on. We need honest, good men and women to rise up and run our local government. That's why I'm going to recruit you, the listener, to run for Bob Menendez's seat.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Why don't you?
No, I'm not interested, but I think we could get somebody else to do
But
it.
you could get your wife a new Mercedes.
Oh, wait a second. Is that what happened here?
Yeah.
What kind of Mercedes do you think this was?
I don't know.
Now that you mention it,
assuming it's nice.
I think I want to run.
One of the things, though, that it said in the article was that he may claim that his wife was withholding information from him. So is he going to claim that, like, she received the Mercedes-Benz
and he didn't know? Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
know.
No, that is what it sounds like. It sounds like
that
they're going to play the game. But you can't, I don't think you can. Is a jury going to believe that?
no, because it's like,
They're going to go, oh, so he didn't know.
so they just bought you the Mercedes just for fun.
The big politician didn't know that his wife got a Mercedes-Benz.
He wasn't questioning where it came from. He was like, oh, it just showed up.
Yeah, he already made the agreement. I mean, I don't know. I think there's just sickness. There's sickness in our government. It's got to be weeded out. And Bob Menendez, if he wants to come on the podcast,
That'd be
pretty legendary.
an incredible guest.
Senator Bob Menendez, come in and tell your side of the story. We want to hear. And,
Imagine he pulls up in the Mercedes.
no, she also killed somebody with this Mercedes-Benz. Did you know that?
Did she?
Yeah, she hit
Oh, wait,
somebody.
I
She
do
hit it.
remember
She hit like a 45-year-old man, I think,
Oh, yeah.
with the Mercedes, the same car. So, no, wait, no, that was the original Mercedes, and that's why she needed the replacement. That's what happened. She had a Mercedes-Benz, and she totaled it she killed somebody with her car, and then because she needed a new one, Papa Bob here pulled some plugs and got her a new Mercedes-Benz.
That's wild.
So, just crazy. It's crazy. You can't even make it up. It's something out of a Scorsese movie. It's like Goodfellas. But that's our last story of the day. Any closing thoughts, guys?
No. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Hey, going into mid-June. This is going to be the weekend of June 15th and 16th. So we're halfway through June.
Crazy.
Summer's on the move, baby.
Means it's almost the 4th of July.
Yeah. I need to get to the beach at least once. But other than that, that's all we have. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us for another week of the Garden State. We'll be back next Friday with all the news you need to hear with Jordan, Jimmy, and Josh. Chomik will still be on vacation or working, I guess.
Vacation from the podcast.
Vacation from the podcast, yeah. But we'll see you next week. Have a good week, everybody.
See ya.
Later.
You're listening to the Garden State. The Dirty Jers.